Hi, my name is Matt Schweitzer, and we are in the AAID studio at the annual conference here in Atlanta. And I have Edward R. Kusek, our president for 2 more days at the AAID. And we're going to talk a little bit about the accomplishments of 2024 in your leadership.
Well, yeah, it's been kind of a whirlwind. A lot of different things. We've got a lot of things accomplished. So, one of the things I wanted to do is have more personal interactions, and you helped me with that by giving video messages throughout the year. So, I think it helps just to keep in touch with the members and let them know, yeah, there are things happening.
And that went over so well. Dr. Young's going to continue it for 2025. So,
Awesome.
it was something that members found valuable.
Great. Another thing is I actually attended some of the Maxi courses, which is the lifeblood of AID. And, I didn't think they, really liked it, but I actually had some of them come and thank me for being there. And with the message that I gave to like all the new members to the Academy, some of them came up to me during the Maxi courses and said, well, I really made them feel the warm part of what this Academy is.
You sent letters to every single new member
Right,
that
did.
joined.
Yeah, it was like over 600.
And
And it's still counting.
And still counting. And it's that personal touch that you were talking about. And one of the things that I know personally is the transition with AAID News. It used to be a little bit more clinical, a little bit more dry, and you introduced a change. Talk to me about that.
Well, AID News used to be more of the camaraderie, more of the features of our members and thing, and it got to be too stuffy and too much journal stuff, and we already have a good journal for that. So I wanted to go back to the way AID News used to be. So Dr. Swati, she had accepted the position and she's just kind of run with it, and she's doing an awesome job.
She's written several features on personal matters, and things that are important to dentists and more than just the clinical research, which is, as you had said, you have in the journal.
Yeah.
I know another big initiative was Maxi Course 2, yet to be named, but talk to us a little bit about that.
And I think everybody likes the word Maxi Course too, of the clinicians. But, we have the Maxi Course 1 has been so successful for us for a number of years. And, but there's nothing else for them. And Dr. Menchetti's always been wanting something like this. And I attended one of his surgical courses, and you can see there's, a disconnect that these members need to have something above that. So this committee, we went ahead and organized the criteria for the director for the Maxi Course 2. And this way, all the members who join this Maxi Course 2 can get all of the cases that they need for the fellowship, and they'll have the actual number to get for their fellowship too. So everything keeps going in a tier fashion. You have your associate fellow, you have fellow, and then you'll be able to go right to your diplomat status. So just makes sense.
And as part of education, and continuing education is so important to all the leadership amongst the AID. With the launch of the Implant Institute and online library courses that people can take, I know one that just came out is much more interactive, much more requires the user to be involved versus just watching a lecture.
Yeah. So that was, when I was president of the Academy of Laser Dentistry, it was during COVID. And we actually had to cancel a meeting like AID had to also, but that was the lifeblood of that organization. So we had to pivot and go to virtual courses. But then looking at AID, we didn't have a lot in our library at all. And, members want something that they know they have concrete materials that they could get and for their membership here. So we went ahead and did some stuff, and it worked well. But this year, like you said, it's more interactive. And we've got a number of courses that we've done.
There's 150 plus. It's growing every
But the interactive ones, we've got 5 that are coming out. One just got produced here that's for the meeting. So a number of other clinicians are going to be doing. Adam Hogan, Robert Miller's got another one, and a few others. And they're all going to be these interactive things. So I think it's 3 hours a CD that you get for it. and the cost for it is pretty minimal too.
Exactly. And one of the values that AAID members always touch on when they are giving us their feedback is the ability to interact and to network. And I know that under your leadership, you brought a lot more people onto committees and a lot more people into leadership roles. Talk about why that was important.
You get too many people, it gets kind of stagnant. And as I was moving up the ranks from secretary to president-elect, I could see some people weren't into it anymore. And then you've got a lot of people that every year they say they want to be involved. They want to be involved, and nothing was happening. So Carolina, our executive director, sent out email to everybody asking them if they wanted to be involved. We took that email and I kind of went through their curriculum vitae of what their expertise was, and then we kind of plugged them into different committees, and it seemed to work extremely well because the meetings that I've gone to, everybody is really engaged. There's a lot of energy in the committees.
I think we had almost 100 people fill out that call for volunteers. So it was really excellent to see that. So I know even going back to your speech that you gave at the annual business meeting last year, you talked about working more with other allied organizations and associations. Talk to me a little bit about what we have been accomplishing this year.
Yeah, so with all the organizations, basically when I was president of the Academy of Laser Dentistry, that was the first organization that I picked on, basically. And at this annual meeting, you can see a lot of laser things that are presented here because this organization has taken a long time to put the laser into the fold of surgical procedures. And we're finding out that some certain lasers could actually stimulate bone and cartilage. So that's pretty exciting, and we have one speaker here that's doing a workshop that's actually showing some of that stuff.
I know for members that want to advertise their credential in their state, the AAID has been very active on the legal front. I believe we've won cases in 22 states and are active in at least 3 to 5 others. One of the things that I think is important is members have the opportunity, or credentialed members have the opportunity to take advantage of an hour of legal service. Is that correct? Can you explain that?
Yeah. So when our previous attorney had some medical issues, and Justin Withrow was our new attorney there, he offered the services that from our previous attorney was given to us. So attorneys are expensive, and he's given us a free 1 hour to basically listen to your comments and situations that you might have. So, again, another big thing that you don't have to go outside and get some legal advice from an attorney, which, could run from $300 to maybe $1,000 or even more.
Easily. So it's like during that hour, if I'm, a credentialed dentist in Michigan, I can even use that hour to say, what can I do? What can't I do? What could get me in trouble? And what am I allowed to do?
Exactly.
Because it does vary state to state, and it's not a very simple process. So having that 1 hour where you get actual answers from a legal professional at no cost is huge value for our credentialed members.
And remember, that's part of our membership.
Exactly.
That some of our members just don't realize they get in that.
So obviously AAID is an organization focused on learning and education. Talk to me about graduate level education, why that's important.
Yeah, so we started our association with Jacksonville University. And, we had some little issues, the growing pains of it, but since Dr. Jim Rakowski is taking it over, it's gone to a different level totally. This is going to go to a 2-year mastership level that you're going to get in implant dentistry. So, implant dentistry isn't just placing an implant into bone. You need to have surgical skills. You need to have periodontal skills. You need to have prosthetic skills. You need to know how to look at history of the patient's medical history and know how all that's going to affect the patient. So basically, it's an encompassing educational portion that AID is helping grow into that area because, we need some codified schools out there that actually have implant dentistry as their main mastership level.
It sounds very unique.
It is.
Are there programs like it out there?
This is the first one, and we're going to be graduating our first class coming up very soon.
So I would be remiss while talking about education and learning opportunities, not to bring up where we are, the 2024 AAID Annual Conference, which you had a lot to do with in planning. Talk to me about some of that process of working with Dr. Bernie Dunson.
Yeah, Bernie and I have been friends for a long, long time. You know, he and I are both, CE junkies, and it's very important for me to bring new things to the forefront, and it's things that I see that aren't happening with AID. So we were both in tune to that. We've been working on this for 2 years. First, he accepted to do it because he's a past president of AID, and he had to get re-energized to do this. And he's from Atlanta, and we started the process. He flew to South Dakota in the freezing February weather. So we got our basic ideas during that meeting, and we just started planning everything out, our topics, what we wanted to do. And then we added on to the group, our committee, and had a brain session there, and everything just kind of fell through. And he and I are both very organized people. And as you could probably say, probably one of the more organized meetings that you've seen.
I would absolutely agree.
And we're getting so many compliments already on it. So we've got a lot of new techniques mixed with the traditional stuff. And then also the workshops are so much important. That's why people will come to an in-person meeting, is they want to have their hands doing something, so visually with their hands they can feel what it's doing.
You're not just sitting in a lecture hall all day taking notes trying to stay awake. You're actually working on a new procedure, working with new technology.
With some of the top clinicians in the world.
Yeah. And so looking at the metrics for this year's annual, we had almost 270 first-time attendees.
Awesome.
And with a conference like this with so much to offer, what type of advice would you give to a first-time attendee?
Well, pick what you want to learn into there. But the main thing is start to connect yourself with a member. If you see somebody that has a badge of a diplomat or fellow into there, maybe at lunchtime or a break time, go up to that person and ask them, start questions. We welcome everybody into this academy, and that's the big thing. I belong to a number of different organizations, but this is the academy where people are so willing to share their knowledge to you and welcome you with open arms. Others are,
a little more difficult to bring into.
It is, but everybody is so welcoming. So that's the biggest thing, is find yourself somebody around here that has some experience. Maybe they'll be a mentor for you, and just keep that relationships, because that's how I started. I started going to courses, and I found out that AID was the courses that I wanted to take, and then I've got so many friends in this organization, and when I see them again, it's like, well, what are you doing? And they tell me,
You get to catch up.
yeah, and then they'll say, well, that didn't work well. Well, you should have done it like this. Mm-hmm. And so that's where you learn the most. It's outside sometimes.
So sometimes it's hard for people to take time off at the office to come to an in-person meeting. One of the great benefits about the AAID Implant Institute is so much of the content here is captured and able to be taken on CE online. What are some of the courses that you think at this current annual that would be relevant or really interesting for somebody who maybe is not able to be here in Atlanta, but is now able to take that course on Implant Institute?
Well, if I said them all, I'd be remiss if
insulting
somebody.
You can buy them all for a very deeply discounted price.
Because, for me personally, with my obligations here, there's a lot of stuff that I missed. And to get some extra CE hours and, some of the courses that I did want to take because of my obligations, that's great. And because I like to do a lot of hands-on stuff too, that's great, because then I missed a lot of stuff that was in the lecture hall that there's, from some pretty...
That's a really, really good point, because when you're taking those workshops here, you are missing out on a lot of the other things that are going on, but because we're able to capture it, those people in the workout or the workshops aren't necessarily missing out on on
And
what
then
they're
you
seeing.
said that's going to be good for a year.
That it will be good for a year.
Yeah, so it gives you time to review, and you still get CE for it.
Absolutely.
So that's awesome. What more can you ask?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the unique elements about the AAID annual conference is the Implant World Expo, where we have vendors that are coming in. Now, obviously in-person meetings have changed. They were even changing before COVID, where it's a big investment to get here, but we have a sold out floor. What does that tell you about the conference?
Well, that tells me that AID is relevant to these companies. And, implants is a big ticket item. And these are type A doctors, and they're well educated doctors. And they see this as a way that they could get to those type of doctors. And that's why we're sold out.
Yeah.
And even for next year, we're probably on our way to selling out on that one.
You
too.
would be correct.
Yeah. So, and what better way? Because I still like to talk with the people, and the communication that you have with a vendor. I just, emails and talking over the phone just doesn't do it. But the relationship that I have with a particular vendor means more to me. That personal relationship.
Of course. Well, thank you very much. We have been in the AAID studio. I'm Matt Schweitzer, the Director of Marketing Communications, and I've been with Dr. Edward R. Kusek, our current AAID President.